What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Buns video. As you may or may not have heard, Mark Ingram got suspended 4 games for banned PED use. And it looks like there's no way he's gonna win an appeal or anything, so this is pretty much final. So now the question raises, how will the Saints do in the 4 games without Mark Ingram? Will they be able to make the playoffs again without Mark Ingram? Last year, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara were an amazing backfield. First backfield in NFL history to have 2 players get over 1,500 all-purpose yards each. So Ingram was a vital cog to that Saints playoff appearance. And that team ultimately should have gone to the conference round if it weren't for that one play. But I'm not going to show that highlight. I'm not going to show that play on here. I won't make Saints fans go through that again. But I bet you know which play I'm talking about. If it weren't for that, though, they would have made it all the way to the conference round, and Mark Ingram was a huge part of that. So now, how will they do without Mark Ingram? So the 4 games Mark Ingram is suspended for, they play, I have it written down here, they play the Buccaneers, then the Browns, then the Falcons, and then the Giants. 2 of those teams have 3 combined playoff appearances in the last 2 years. Giants had a playoff appearance 2 years ago, and the Falcons have made the playoffs in both the last 2 years. So there's some alright teams in there. And how are they going to do against those teams now that they don't have Mark Ingram? I'll break it down for you. So, Buccaneers, I think this is going to be a win for the Saints. The Buccaneers are an alright team. They have some good players in places, but honestly, they just don't have nearly as much talent as the Saints. Their pass rush might create a few problems for the Saints with Jason Pierre-Paul and Gerald McCoy, but I don't think it's anything the Saints can't handle. I think they'll still be able to take advantage of the Buccaneers' defense even without Ingram, because the Buccaneers have an atrocious secondary. When your best corner is Brent Grimes, who's about 37 now, you know you're in trouble. And Drew Brees could dot them up better than anyone. I predict for Michael Thomas to have a great game. I think the Saints will definitely win that one by a comfortable margin. So that's a win without Mark Ingram. Okay, next up we have the Cleveland Browns, who are a team on the rise. And they are on the rise. They've had some pretty good drafts in there, but I still don't think they'll be a match for the Saints. The Saints, once again, have just more talent everywhere. And the Browns secondary is atrocious. They've got bad players everywhere. I think the Buccaneers will be able to take advantage of it through the air. Alvin Kamara will have a tough day on the ground, I think. It would have helped to have Mark Ingram to split the workload with him. Against the Browns have a top 8 rush defense in the league. I'm pretty sure they finished number 3 last year. They had a really good rush defense last year. It should only be better this year as these players have developed. And if Myles Garrett is healthy, it should be a very good rush defense. So not having Ingram will hurt, but I think they'll still get that win by a comfortable margin once again. Now here's an interesting game versus the Falcons. And this is super important. It has playoff implications. Falcons are a top 6 team in the league. So how will they do without Mark Ingram against the Falcons? Well, unfortunately, I think the Saints will lose this one. The Falcons are an amazingly talented team without Mark Ingram, who, Kamara's a really good back, but I don't feel he has the ability to carry a workload and grind out clock like Ingram does. And without Ingram, I think Atlanta's powerful run duo of Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman will pound the Saints into submission, and Atlanta will ultimately win that game. The Saints will be relying on quick strike offense mainly, and they won't be able to keep their defense off the field very long. The Falcons will keep pounding against that Saints group, and I think the Saints will ultimately lose that game without Mark Ingram. And if Mark Ingram were on the team, honestly, I'd say the Saints would win this. But this is a game that the Saints will lose due to Mark Ingram's suspension. The fourth and last game without Mark Ingram for the New Orleans Saints is the New York Giants. And the Giants are a fascinating team because they were a top team 2 years ago. Amazing. They were just doing great. They went like 11-5, made the playoffs, were doing excellently. This last year, they really took a turn for the worse, but is mainly due to injuries to Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Marshall, and the slot receiver guy. I can't remember his name right now, but really good slot receiver for the Giants. Remind me who it was in the comment section below, please. But injuries hurt them this last year. This year, they should be a fringe playoff contender, so it should be a tough game for the Saints. I still have the Saints winning it, though. I feel they'll be able to once again take advantage of the Giants secondary. The Giants are an okay secondary, but not amazing. I think Drew Brees will take advantage of it. I'm not particularly afraid of the Giants' rush defense besides Damon Harrison, so I feel Alvin Kamara should be able to have a pretty good game and make up for Ingram being gone. So there you have it. In the 4 games without Mark Ingram, out of the Saints going 3-1. So now the question is that enough to make the playoffs? So the rest of the year, here's how I have them going. They win versus the Redskins. Win versus the Ravens. Lose versus the Vikings. Lose versus the Rams. Win against the Bengals. Lose against the Eagles. Win against the Falcons. I love the Cowboys, but I think the Saints will win the game against the Cowboys as well. Buccaneers, they should win that game. Panthers at Panthers, I think they'll lose that game. Versus the Steelers, I'll be close. That should be a game that really decides whether they make the playoffs or not. I think they'll win that game. Then last game of the season against the Panthers, I feel that will be a win, as it will be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that would leave the Saints with an 11-5 record on the year. If Ingram were with them, that would be a 12-4 record. Would that be enough to make the playoffs with Atlanta in their division as well? I think so. I think the Saints will just be able, even without Mark Ingram for those 4 games, to squeak in a wild card spot. So there you have it. Let me know how you think the Saints will do without Mark Ingram. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comments section below. Buns out.